This month on Thurston County Connection, we're looking back at all of the places we went and county departments we learned about in 2017. We'll see clips from Commissioner Bud Blake lost in the woods, Gary Edwards in the machine shop, and John Hutchings with Man's Best Friend. All this and more coming up next. Thanks for tuning in to this special edition of Thurston County Connection. We begin with a clip from the very first episode from 2017 when TC Media CEO Deborah Vinsel introduced us to two new faces on the commission.
With me is Chair Bud Blake from District 3, Vice Chair John Hutchings from District 1, and Commissioner Gary Edwards from District 2. The commissioners have received questions from their constituents asking how they interact together as a team, and they wanted to give you an opportunity to see what their relationships look like and get an inside view to their individual personalities. There will be no official business taking place during today's program, but the commissioners do invite you to attend their board meetings held on Tuesday afternoons at 2 p.m. in room 280 of Building 1 at the Courthouse Complex to see your government in action. You can also view the county master calendar of events to see when other business meetings may be of interest. And of course, if you can't attend the meeting, you can always watch the meetings here on Thurston Community Media Channel 3. So gentlemen, thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules. And I mean, we were thrilled that we could get all three of you in one place at the same time. We're going to start with kind of a little icebreaker. Give us a little insight to your personalities.
My family's been here since the mid-1800s. And we've always been involved in our community. My wife is on the school board out at Yelm and has been for 32 years. And I guess my past history, I was a law enforcement officer for about 40 years, 20 of those here as the elected county sheriff. And I just thought that I could add a little bit to the process yet, taking on this new role as a county commissioner. Mm-hmm. So I've got family here, I've got 9 grandkids, kids scattered around, some live here, some live elsewhere. And I just think Thurston County is a great place to be and live. And
you got really deep roots here. Really deep roots. Really deep roots here.
That's right. That tree's not going to tip over right away.
Okay, great. Hutch, how about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a family man. I come from a very large family, very close knit. And my wife and I moved up here to Olympia in 1985 when our kids were 2 and 4 at the time, and now they're well into their 30s with babies of their own, and one lives in Seattle, the other lives in Lacey. My wife and I have been married 42 years this May, so we're very stable. We're a very close-knit family again. That carries on. Did 35 years in public service as a police officer for 3 different agencies, and even on the other side of the badge, off duty, I was giving to the public as well in public service, volunteering on boards and such. And I've said this so many times before, but and I really believe it, that I don't take myself seriously, but I take my job seriously. No matter what my line of work has been, I take it very seriously. But what helps me gets through the real tough times is my sense of humor. And I've been through many tough times, as we all have. But that carries me through.
Okay. You nodded, so I'm thinking you've witnessed that sense of humor a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good.
But you've been on the commission longer than your fellow commissioners, obviously, so.
2 years,
But I don't know if we've had this conversation with you. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so just to kind of start off, the accent is from Alabama, but I joined the Army as a young man, and I served 25 years. And so in 1993, I decided to ask for a posting out here, and that's where I got to know Fort Lewis. And I fell in love with the Christmas trees, and I said, oh my gosh, this is where they do it, make Christmas trees out here. And so I stayed, if there's another reason for that. In and out of the Northwest in the military for a long time, and then I finally retired in 2013. And I still wanted to serve the country, and I decided I wanted to serve the county and ran for office for the reason that I think Thurston County is the best county in the whole nation, for the very fact that it's, I know people use the word cliches in a cliche way, but it is diversified. I mean, you look at South County compared to North County, you have non-growth versus growth people here, you have liberal to conservative. I like the mixture of people here, and I love being there for them and having that balance of life that brings Thurston County to be the best place. And so I said I had to put my name in the hat and run for office, and here I am 2 years later, and it's been absolutely a joy to be able to serve the people and do the things we do here for our kids and women and men that are out there living a good life. So yeah.
I am utterly bowled over at how not only intelligent but strategic Bud is.
Oh my God.
See, I told you put your hands over your ears.
Well,
And by that I mean, here we are learning how, Gary and I are learning how to play chess, and this man's doing three-dimensional chess. He's playing on levels that I didn't even know existed.
I'm not sure that I'm not playing checkers.
But it is an eye-opener when I look at, can we do this, and if we do that? And Bud says, look at these pictures, look at the other departments, what's coming down the road, what's coming through the legislature, what the courts are working on. He is ready, relevant, and engaged, and we're trying to get up to speed as quickly as we can. And not only is he a great mentor, but boy, he's the perfect chair to keep things going and orchestrated. Yeah. Now, but I have a question for you. Can I ask him a question, or is it just you?
Sure. Go right ahead.
Are these briefings? Are the
Help
briefings going to slow down?
The briefing's going to slow down.
We're just getting warmed up. You're in the dugout. And you're in the warm up pit.
Slow down. Slow down as in the number that you have.
Next, John Hutchings needed to renew his dog license. So while he was at Animal Services, he interviewed some of the staff. Let's take a look.
Well, here I am. I'm going to renew my dog license. And if you'll look, this is the second notice. So I'm going to pay it before my license gets suspended. I'm only kidding. They don't suspend dog licenses. But let's see what happens and go through the process together. Hello.
Hi.
I'm here to renew my dog license.
All right, great. Are there any changes here?
I didn't look at that. Nope, no changes. And I'm saving postage on a stamp.
If you come in, the first thing you want to do is look at the tag on the cage, which actually gives the animal's name and talks a little bit about their background or a little bit about them. And it says here, shy, but likes to be gently petted.
It's kind of like me.
Right. So why don't we just see what happens here?
I noticed, though, that she has 2 rooms, like a condo.
Well, yes, in fact, they are like condos. And the reason for that is that in the olden days, animals were given, and we have to sometimes do this, put one animal in each of these rooms. But the ideal situation is that they have choices, and they can spread out away from their food and where they would, defecate and urinate. And that actually helps them have a better, less stressful life while they're here. So that sort of thing.
Let me ask you real quick before we get her out. Do you give these kitties like caffeine in the morning or something? They're flipping and jumping and playing, and they're hysterical.
Kitten behavior.
It is hysterical.
Yeah. You give them a ball, and you can see there's a little ball in there, and they're playing with one another. Like this one is ready to pounce on that one over
there. But no
there.
Energy drink in there? Because they are hysterical. Oh,
yes,
look at that one.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see catalog.
Let's pull out Cattle Dog. Hey, little one, come here. Come on, sweetie. Come on. Come on, yeah.
That's a girl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how soft. Oh, how soft. What a beautiful.
So here's an animal that somebody wanted to euthanize. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Nor can we, okay? So this to me is the heart of what we do, right here. Do you want to hold her?
Oh, you bet. Baby, don't fall. Yeah, lick away. It's okay. Lick away. You're fine.
Now, she wouldn't have done this the other day. First of all, she hurt. Secondly, she didn't trust people. So
Fleet Services is the county department that handles maintenance, purchasing, and upkeep of the county's vehicles. Commissioner Gary Edwards took us on a tour of their facility, as well as a road construction project to talk about safety.
Here we are in the light vehicle shop, and Brian's going to explain to us what goes on in this operation. And I see that we've got
a vehicle here that apparently belongs to one of the fire services that you're going to do some work on, right?
Yes, sir. So part of the job that we do here in the light vehicle shop, besides maintaining all the county's admin vehicles and the lighter fleets from 1 ton on down, we do upfits, so we do new vehicle setups. So part of the new vehicle setup process is when we order a new emergency services vehicle, such as this one here, which belongs to West Thurston Fire Department. That vehicle requires emergency lighting, radios, and specific systems to go inside to help with the communications for the department. On this vehicle here, we're putting on a new light bar, new radio columns in the center. We're installing new underlighting as well as 110 breakaway charging capability so that vehicle can stay plugged in and the communications iPad can stay on all the time.
This is our AVL, which is our automatic vehicle locator.
Okay.
So Public Works uses this to see where the fleet is. And this gives us some basic information as to speed, direction, and location. And I can also tell from this when a radio keys up and when it turns on and when it turns off. It's helped us a couple of times in locating vehicles that have been rolled over.
Oh. Okay.
That they didn't have enough signal to get out, but we could see where the vehicle was. There's been a couple of vehicles that have been stolen that we've been able to locate with this.
Yeah.
It's a very useful tool in the Public Works environment.
Well, thanks very much, Kevin.
My pleasure.
Super.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we are out at a construction site out on Old 99 between Tumwater and Tenino, and Terry Roberts is going to fill us in on what's going on here as a follow-up from our shop activity. So the past couple days we've been out here, we're doing what we call dig outs, and they're mill and fills. What we do is we have a rental grinder, which you can see behind us. What he does is he grinds down 2.5 inches. Especially with Old Highway 99, you have a asphalt base of about 10 inches of asphalt. So you do not want to grind all the way down. So we take it down 2.5 inches down to where the cracks no longer exist, and then we fill it with asphalt. And then come July, we'll have our contractor come in here and chip seal everything. And you'll notice that safety is a big issue out here on the work site as well as over at the county shop. And so you'll see that we've got a pilot truck going by leading people through. There's a deputy sheriff parked up here just being aware that to keep people from overreacting, because oftentimes during these construction periods there's aggravation, people don't understand exactly what's going on, and we're really hoping that you, the motoring public, will understand that this is a heavy time for construction, and the county employees are out here doing the best they possibly can, and we would hope you would recognize this from a safety perspective and help us keep these folks safe. Thank you. Our biggest thing is we're trying to keep our road crew and the public safe. So just be patient out here. We do have a lot of pieces of equipment out here. We do have a pilot car that we run on these mainline roads like Old Highway 99. We do have wait for pilot car signs in every driveway. So the biggest thing is be patient, watch out for our guys on the ground, watch out for our equipment. We don't want anybody, running into the back of them. Also, when following the pilot car, just have a safe, clear distance from each one of the vehicles in front of you and behind you. We don't want any wrecks out here. Thank you very much, Terry. All right, thank you. We've been at the shop, so you had a good understanding of the maintenance and the overall operation in the shop, especially when it comes to this heavy equipment. And now you've got the heavy equipment on site doing a road repair here on Old 99.
Last summer saw Commissioner Bud Blake lost in the woods. Luckily, Thurston County Search and Rescue has volunteers with bloodhounds at their disposal. After being given Commissioner Bud Blake's scent, the dog was able to track him down just in time for Bud to interview some of the volunteers for search and rescue.
I want this dog to find me.
You did it.
What are you doing?
Okay, good boy. There it is. Good boy. Nice job, buddy.
Thank you. And Deanna, just tell us a little bit about how you're involved in your role, and then we can talk about some of the training and other issues as far as search and rescue.
Okay. I have been involved with South Puget Sound Mobile Search and Rescue for going on 7 years now. Most recently last year, Adam and myself took over the roles as captain and second in command for the unit. So this will be my second year running the unit as captain. I also started out doing the grant writing my second year with the unit. And then I'm also PIO as well.
Wow, that's a lot of duties that to carry on. And so tell me why you do it and how many years you've been doing it.
Well, 7 years. Just it's a huge passion. My mom actually was a missing person years back for a brief period of time, but it's very scary and it's a wonderful way to give back to your community.
Wow.
All nonprofit, all volunteer member ran.
And so the search and rescue as a unit, tell us a little bit about that. How many people and how long they've been involved and the type of volunteers that want to do this and some of the requirements that it takes to be a volunteer.
Well, we've been a 501c3 corporation since 2004. We have about 25 members currently. We have 4x4 units, mountain bike, ATV, and most recently we have adapted canine to our unit. We love what we do. We're kind of like a family.
And how often do you train? Is it a calendar thing or is it just wait on call? Kind of walk us through that as far as the operational
On average,
portion.
I'd say we have one search, one event, and one training per month. So, but with the dogs now in county, we're hoping that we'll get a lot, not that that's a good thing for call outs, but it's nice to have canine in our county again.
When you need it.
Yeah.
You bet. And so as far as, you said there's vehicle type, there's bike and Jeep, and do you have a favorite of one of those two that you like the best and that you've done?
That I personally,
Sure.
I'm a Jeep girl all the way. I love the Jeeps. Yeah.
That's great. So Adam here, he does the canines, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Adam, walk us through, tell us a little bit about how the canine portion of this works for search and rescue.
Well, as far as the canines go, we train every weekend. We train throughout the county in different locations. We try to get it as real as possible. We currently have 1 wilderness and 3 urban dogs certified to go out. Altogether, I think we have 6 dogs in the county that are registered through the DEM. We have other dogs that are...
The DEM is?
The Department of Emergency Management. We have other dogs that are upcoming, so when we have to, retire one or whatnot, then we have other ones that are going to take their place.
What makes a dog specific about wilderness versus something that's non-wilderness? How does that happen as far as the training?
So wilderness has a lot of other animal sense. A lot of dogs have a prey drive, which is animal. We have to correct that. We can't let them. We can't allow them to do that. So, and then when you get into urban, you have vehicles, people, food, you name it, it's there, and they have to be able to work past those certain scenarios to find who they're looking for.
Great.
Thurston County is full of fresh produce, and Northwesterners love to support local food producers. In the summer of 2017, Commissioner John Hutchings took us to some of the local farmers markets and farms in the area.
We have numerous markets in the county that are open just 1 day or 2 days a week.
Correct.
And then at the peak season, we're open Thursday through Sunday. Tell me the difference.
Well, Thurston County is home to 5 markets. We have the Olympia Farmers Market, West Olympia Farmers Market, Tumwater, Yelm Farmers Market, and Tenino. Thank you very much, Commissioner. And Tenino, not to be forgotten, a very special
Not to be
market
forgotten,
in Tenino.
yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
But those markets are generally open 1 or 2 days.
Yes, correct. Most of those markets are open 1 day a week, and that actually means that in the peak season, which is generally April through October, there is a farmer's market open every day of the week in Thurston County.
So it's like pairing wine with a meal. You're pairing oyster with a sauce. Fix me one, would you? 'Cause I only have one hand. Please. And I'm gladly going to pay you for this. This is not gratuity.
Yeah, Mary offered to take up the tab.
Okay. That is lovely.
Last year we also had a 4-year-old ask why we had glued carrots together because she had only eaten baby carrots, and when we pulled out a full-size carrot, she'd never seen one before. So she had thought we glued baby carrots together and planted them in the ground. And so this is one of those things where we need to educate our youth and our adults too where our food comes from, and that we can grow it here in our own backyard, because here specifically Thurston County is great weather for that.
Well, and to that end, I love Brussels sprouts, and it was many years after eating them that I saw them on the stem.
Yes.
And I asked my mom back then, "What are these?"
Yeah.
I never knew how they grew.
Correct.
Very, very interesting.
So our goal is to get them started young. So starting at age 4, that we participate in the program, so that eventually they will know exactly where their food comes from, and they know that the food that they grow goes to the food bank. And last year they donated just over about 1,100 pounds to the food bank from the Children's Garden program.
1,100 pounds. Good grief.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do in volunteering for the Master Gardeners. I really appreciate that. And it's good to see you again.
Nice seeing you too, Hutch.
Thank you. Corey,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time out here at the market and the farmers market garden,
Yes.
or the
Galici
garden.
Yep, Norm Galici.
And I know a lot more about it than I did before.
Yes.
Thank you very, very much. Now we're going to head down to Kersop Farms in Rochester and actually see stuff growing. Hi, I'm Thurston County Commissioner John Hutchings, and I'm with Colin Barraclough. And we're down at the Scatter Creek Farm and Conservancy, Kersop Farm. Welcome.
Thank you.
Actually, welcome to me, because I'm visiting you. We did all morning at the Farmers Market, Olympia Farmers Market, and talked with Nigel up there, who is representing the family farm very well. But I want to ask you, because I know you are exceptionally busy, your time is constrained because of farm work that has to get done. What is it you actually do in the farm?
Where to start? Well, I'll say we grow about 20 to 25 acres of organic vegetables, and there are many tasks involved with that I do lots of: irrigation, fertility, a lot of the tractor work. We have helpers for all of this, of course. We also grow about 20 acres of grain, wheat and barley and oats that almost all of it we turn into chicken and pig feed. We grow several thousand pastured organic meat chickens every year, and we make all the feed for them, and a handful of pigs and a few hundred laying hens.
I'm going to tell you a joke. I'm going to steal a joke from my friend Devin. She says, organic farming, they ought to call it organic weeding, am I right?
Oh, wow.
Because we spend so much time controlling weeds without chemicals.
By hand?
Yeah, by hand. So we have various machines that control the weeds. We have tractor-pulled machines. We have human-powered machines, and we have our hands that pull the weeds. And we spend many hours doing that to control weeds without chemicals. And that is...
Well, it's a lot of acreage.
It's a lot.
And so how many employees do you have?
Right now, we have about 15 here on the farm.
Okay. Okay, obviously you're not growing lemon trees and avocados because they don't grow here.
No.
But we're standing in front of what?
These are our cucumber vines.
Cucumbers,
Cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers, those are things that grow reasonably well here, but better if you give them a little boost in a greenhouse.
In the greenhouse, okay.
It's a little more heat.
And you're watering, you got drip lines.
We've got drip lines.
And when these come to full growth, what do you call them? When they're harvestable? Or
cucumbers?
Pickable? What do you call it when you're ready to go?
Mature?
Mature, thank you. Not like me. Then do these go right to the farmer's market, or do you jar them and pickle them, or do you sell them out?
No,
or
right to the farmer's market. These are very fancy, very delicious, thin-skinned English cucumbers.
Oh, the English ones, like the long,
they're
ones.
not even an American slicer.
No.
They're not a pickler. They're like the tippy top of the cucumber.
I love, and I get the English ones.
They're what you want.
Yes.
Yeah, when you just want to eat a juicy, yummy cucumber.
And the thin skin is what does it too.
You don't have to peel them. You don't have to mess around. You just enjoy them.
Now, do you grow corn?
We do a little bit of sweet corn.
Sweet corn, okay. Is that the yellow or the white? Is it
We
the,
do a bicolor.
the queen? Oh, do you? Okay.
It's called Luscious.
Luscious. Okay. And
Luscious.
I would find that. Where would I find that?
At the farmer's market, in September.
All right. And are you at the West Side Farmers Market? I don't think you are yet.
The Olympia Farmers Market.
Right, downtown. Are you going to be expanding? Do you have any plans of expansion?
Well, we do a bunch of markets in the Seattle area.
Oh, do you?
So we do Olympia 4 days a week, and then we do 5 days a week in Seattle, different markets. And that's got us hopping. We're pretty good with that schedule.
Tell me a little bit more about what you're growing, because I see wheat and such, and I think Colin mentioned some of that.
He's growing barley and wheat and triticale and rye, basically all kinds of grains that are the kind that will mature quickly in our relatively short growing season. So you put in, an acre or 5 acres or 10 acres of grain, you got to make sure it's the right one for the climate in the area so that we'll get it. If you plant the wrong one and it takes too long, it's going to start raining in September and it's going to lodge and you're going to miss it. And then all of your work will be for nothing. So
Would you say there's more science or art involved in farming and or organic farming?
Half and half, slightly more science. 60 science, 40 art.
And you're obviously quite educated in this field, I would think. What would you say would be your passion about this? What do you love the most about it?
Oh, what I love the most about it is having good things to eat all the time.
2017 brought powerful hurricanes and destructive wildfires. It resulted in a focus on emergency preparedness. Commissioner Gary Edwards visited the Emergency Preparedness Center and interviewed some of the people whose job it is to keep us safe.
Here we are at Lacey Fire Headquarters, and we're still with the Medic One activity. And here with me is Lieutenant Don Bowman, and Don's going to explain all the particulars that go into his job that has been going on now for well over 30 years.
Yes.
39 years. That is an amazing service to the public that Don's been performing. And so there's no doubt about it, he's an expert. He's going to fill us in on what's happening.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. What we have here is this is an advanced life support medic unit. We have about 7 of these around the county and at various places, so that when you call 911, you don't necessarily get the medics originally. A lot of times it goes out and the EMTs will upgrade us. If it's a cardiac arrest or something along that line, we'll be sent initially. But we have advanced life support. We carry medications to get the heartbeat back. We can treat arrhythmias or problems with heart rates. We have defibrillators that a little bit different than what the EMTs are carrying. Ours also monitors heart rates, and we can cardiovert patients change their rhythm if we have to, if it's a life-threatening rhythm. We also carry advanced airway gear so that we can place a cuffed tube into the trachea to prevent vomitus and other foreign fluids from getting into the lungs. And we do that a lot on patients who are unresponsive or unconscious. So you see something like that all the time.
Here inside the ECC, as we respond to disasters and or emergencies, we have broken down into the operations section, the planning section. We also have our communications section, public affairs, and we also do our logistics section here. So this is the nerve center for the county. What we do is we bring in the departments from across the county, independently elected officials, to sit down and do the response to the disaster or the emergency. We have what we call a comprehensive emergency management plan that takes all of our various functions and we put those into emergency support functions, or what we call ESFs. And as an example, ESF 8, which is public health, we turn around and we do all the public health response and recovery actions from there, but we bring in the appropriate stakeholders, such as the Department of Health. We bring in resource stewardship. We bring in all the different agencies across the county and municipalities to help do an integrated response to whatever is taking place. As we walk through this, I also want to stress that when we go from response, and our response actions are to help preserve lives, property, and the environment within the county. But as we transition from response to recovery, then we start looking out and restoring the infrastructure, such as the roads, buildings, areas that we need to make sure are critical infrastructure to ensure that the county and the citizens are supported.
we have on our website, you'll find the 24 weeks to preparedness, and it's like a shopping list of how you can staff or stock your house and your supplies to get you prepared in a disaster.
And just do a little bit at a time.
A little bit
to
at a
build
time
up.
on your budget, because we know it can
Right.
get kind of expensive. There's actually a list of things that you can do on a shoestring budget. So peanut butter is a great preparedness food. But having food, having communications plan, who are you going to contact? Like for instance, my sister lives in California, so she would be the contact my family would call, and then we can let everybody know that we're okay. So that way, if it's hard to get out, you can text message sometimes, because it's easier to get out on a text than it is a phone call. And at least once the systems are up and running, the text will go through. So there's just a lot of information on our website. I really encourage you to go there. There's also ready.gov, that is the federal website. Washington State Emergency Management has a lot of information also. Again, all this information is free. We do public education for free. And so we do training for the neighborhood preparedness. That is my favorite program, is the Map Your Neighborhood.
You know, I guess I'd say that having been here at the county for quite some period of time, and you tend to think, well, everything's going pretty smooth. But since I've been here, we've had a volcano situation that caused a lot of disruption. We've had major flooding, and we've had an earthquake. And all those came about fairly unexpectedly. So it's pretty important to make sure that you're prepared when the time comes, because we don't know what level of disaster we're going to be dealing with. And you can't always depend on the government to bail you out. You're kind of obligated to take care of yourself and your neighbors and friends that you can help, because that's when neighborhoods really pull together, is when we have a situation like that develop.
One hot button issue in our area is homelessness. Commissioner Bud Blake met with some of the nonprofit agencies that are trying to help out the homeless.
I'd like to talk to you about a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and it's homelessness and housing here in Thurston County. I have with me today Shelley Slaughter, and some members of the Housing Action Team, some members from the Coordinating Entry, and some members to talk about the Home Fund. Please join me for today's program. I think you're going to enjoy it. And the agenda that I've prepared today is as far as the overall view of what the housing and homeless consist of here in Thurston County, which would include some of the things such as Housing Action Team, Coordinated Entry, and even a little bit about Home Fund. Before we get started, I've asked the Director of Public Health and Social Services here in Thurston County, Shelley Slaughter, to talk with me a little bit about the state role, the county role, and some of the programs and some of the funding, and how the outcomes are met as far as mitigation and resolution. So, hello, Shelley. How you doing there?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Just kind of give a little bit of background as far as some of the state agencies and things that happen and how they help shape as far as curbing the homelessness population, and where they help out as far as housing, maybe say with the Department of Commerce and any other entity that you're associated with in terms of a county representative.
Sure. So at Thurston County Public Health and Social Services, homelessness and affordable housing is one of our really important divisions. Homelessness and housing affects the health of many individuals in our community, and we work very closely with our state and federal partners to provide funding so that we can address the important issues of homelessness and affordable housing in our community. So you mentioned the Washington State Department of Commerce. So the Washington State Department of Commerce provides funding, and also the governor and the state of Washington provide guidance on overall strategy for us in the state of Washington to reduce the instances of homelessness throughout all the counties in our state. Also, the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development provides federal funding through various programs that fund housing projects and homeless programs in our community. So many of those funds come through Thurston County. So Thurston County coordinates and distributes about $4.6 million per year to various nonprofits in our community that make up our continuum of care and provide various services and housing, shelter, and other types of programs in our community.
Fantastic. So you mentioned how you have a partnership with the federal and state entities, and how the county facilitates some of those funds and distribute them. Can you speak to them a little bit more of how they are received, accounted for, and distributed, and some of the nonprofits execute and complete that continuum of care?
Sure, yes. So there are several different types of funding that make up all of the sources that fund various projects in our community. One of those largest sources comes out of document recording fees, also known as 2060 and 2163 funds. And so what many people may not know is every time they purchase a home or refinance a home, a portion of the fees that they pay when they record those documents goes to support local families and individuals that are struggling with housing right here in our community. So that makes up a big portion of those funds. I mentioned the various federal sources that we have that fund the development of new affordable housing and provide subsidies for those that are low income. In Thurston County, approximately 36% of people are cost burdened or cannot afford rental housing in Thurston County. So those type of funds provide really important resources for people to access housing in our community. Locally, community development block grant funds come from federal sources. They go to the City of Olympia, and then through various other communities, they rotate through Thurston County, City of Lacey, City of Tumwater, and the county itself, yes.
At Sidewalk, we work with a lot of folks who have been chronically homeless and out on the streets for a long time and have pretty intense mental health and healthcare and substance use needs. So we've just partnered up with Providence and Interfaith Works and a number of other organizations to open the Community Care Center.
Community Care Center, that's right.
And kind of cool thing at Community Care Center is that we have those healthcare and behavioral health providers right there on site with us.
Mm-hmm.
So the very first day, we had a participant who had a wound that needed taken care of. And as they were meeting with one of our advocates to work on housing, the advocate just walked them right across the hall and got that wound taken care of, just like with a nurse, right?
Success.
So that's cool stuff.
Cool. So let's talk about some of the a scenario here that brings us the success that we've all enjoyed for us, the coordinated entry. If I'm a single male adult, I can go to the, just for example, CYS and knock on the door or call in. Do y'all communicate with each other as far as how that works in the three-pronged entry to help each other out? Can one of y'all walk us through how that might work and not work as far as getting shelter or other services or housing or something like that?
Sure. Mm-hmm. So the beauty of our system is that primarily the populations that we each individually serve go to the right door at the original point. Families with children know that the Family Support Center is the primary location for homeless families with kids. Sidewalk is that primary location for singles, and that's well known in our community. However, there is a lot of crossover in the work that we do, and the Family Support Center may serve a single homeless pregnant woman who qualifies as a family and qualifies as a single. They may also be under the age of 24 and qualify as a youth. So when that happens, we ensure that whatever door they come through, that they receive the intake process and are assessed for what services they're interested in. And then we're collaborating behind the scenes as well and making a warm handoff to the agency that can best serve that individual. So sometimes that looks like the person has case management services through the Family Support Center and they're staying at our Pear Blossom Place Family Shelter, but they're receiving permanent housing assistance through Community Youth Services, engaging in their ECHO program or one of their other programs for housing.
Great. Anyone in follow up on that? Sure.
Yeah, we've had parents who have come into our office who their kids are not with them while they're homeless. They get the kids to go stay with grandparents or whatever, and so we've done a number of times sort of a partnership where Sidewalk helps with the move-in cost for the parent to move into the apartment, and then the Family Support Center comes in as soon as the children have moved back in with their parents. And with us set up at the Community Care Center now, we're only 1 block away from the Family Support Center, right, about 4 blocks from CYS. So we're able to, when we're doing that collaboration around a particular household, we can walk with the household just 1 block down, go visit their caseworker at the Family Support Center and sit down together and work on it.
Can we throw one more thing in there?
Sure, go ahead.
You hold that number up again. Thurston County, for our coordinated entry system, our 3 agencies are open during the day. And so for evening and weekend hours, we have developed a coordinated entry hotline. And that number is 1-844-628-7343. So I just wanted to share that number with you, and there's an opportunity on there to choose which population you're looking for services for, and then that will, during the day, it will route you to the appropriate agency, and in the evening, we're working with partners to cover that during that time as well.
So anybody who's looking for shelter or housing, give that number a call and we'll have somebody available to answer the phone.
As the giving season arrived, Commissioner John Hutchings visited the Thurston County Food Bank, the Salvation Army, and the YWCA to talk about how you can give to those in need.
I'm standing in front of the Thurston County Food Bank in downtown Olympia. Every year, thousands of people, including children, struggle to make ends meet and go without adequate food, clothing, and other essentials. This holiday season, we want to talk to some of the people and groups that are making a difference in people's lives and show how you can help. So tell me Aziz, what has this meant to you personally?
The garden here has helped me learn who I want to be in life, where I want to go. It's taught me responsibility, great work ethic. It's taught me how to be organized, how to get things done on time. I've learned how to create a schedule, in my day-to-day and follow through and, achieve my goals and things like that.
Did that help you get a job?
It did. When I used the skills I learned here out in the real world, I was able to be successful and continue staying a successful and positive member of the society.
Boy, you're a great role model and a great example of things done right. I'm at Thurston County Food Bank with the operations manager, Judy Jones. Judy, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today and to tell all of us more about the food bank.
Absolutely.
Now, I just came from the Juvenile Justice Center and talked with Shane Peer about the Seeds of Change. And he's mentioned that a bunch of food comes down here from Juvenile Hall. Can you explain to me how that works down here?
You bet. So I remember when I first met Shane, he showed up in a white van, pretty sure he had his overalls on, came in with 3 children, 3 teenagers, and said, okay, we're growing some food, let me tell you what we're doing, and we want to donate it here. And I said, super, what do you have? And I don't remember what that first crop was. It was small, but I trained the kids in on how to log, how to weigh the food, how to log it, put it away in the cooler, and then I really wanted to make sure that they understood the significance of what they were embarking on in this garden journey. And that was, I took them through our plastic curtains out onto the distribution floor and talked about what it looks like when we're open on our distribution days and how the produce that they were delivering on that day would be going into someone's grocery cart the very next day and onto someone's table that night, so that they really understood that they were feeding people.
Hello, I'm out here at the YWCA and I'm with the CEO, Hillary Sowens. Hillary, thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much.
To tell not only me, but the viewing public quite a bit more about the YWCA that we don't know. At the core, what is your mission statement and what's the wide range of ages that you serve?
Our broad mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. That's what unites YWCAs all across the country.
Okay.
Here, our specific mission is to eliminate racism and sexism to advance the social, political, and economic status of all women and girls. And that shows up in a variety of ways. Like I said, everything from empowerment programs to young women, to racial justice and intercultural competency training for workplaces and institutions in the community, to, again, basic services that we know all financially struggling individuals and families are challenged by, but particularly because of the wage gap and financial instability of so many women. We know that women are disproportionately impacted by some of these challenges. And so we serve folks of all ages, which primarily for us, for our youth programs, are middle school and high school, so about 10 up to 18. Our job training program supports folks who are 16 all the way up to 70. And then the other bank serves nearly 14,000 people per year. And those folks range from infants all the way to older adults. So that serves everybody in the whole community.
Good grief, and that's obviously year-round.
Thanks for watching this special presentation of Thurston County Connection. Be sure and tune in next month for a preview of what 2018 has in store.